Pillar 2 A2 Taxation 1 to 3 Basics to Corporation Tax, DDT, etc. Budget Annual Financial Statement, Revenue Budget or Capital Budget. Revenue Budget Receipts, Tax direct or indirect, gives 41% of this to state government, 15th Finance Commission. Non-tax receipts में tax and non-tax. Expenditure interest, repayment, salaries and subsidies. Capital budget receipt, debt, external, internal. Non-debt disinvestment, loan recovery. Expenditure infrastructure, loan to UT or states, investment repaying principal. Capital expenditure. Direct tax or indirect tax. Incidence and impact of tax on the same person, not on the same person. डायरेक्ट में सेम पर्सन पे होगा और इनडायरेक्ट में नॉट सेम पे होगा. डायरेक्ट टैक्स प्रोपोर्शनल टैक्स, एग्जांपल 10% फॉर एवरीवन. X direct tax on everyone, rich or poor, etc. Each taxpayer same proportion of income, X% will go into taxes. Progressive tax, example income tax. Direct tax, tax slabs depending on income. Regressive tax, example indirect tax. Example buying a mobile. Poor 20,000 salary, 3,000 mobile. Tax on mobile. Middle class 80,000 salary, 3,000 mobile. Rich Ambani 1,000 crore salary, 3,000 rupees mobile. Large portion of poor man's income is gone in taxes than rich people, so indirect taxes are regressive. Digressive or degressive tax. If direct tax increases up to a point and after a limit a uniform rate is charged, जैसे लोअर मिडिल क्लास से 5% लिए, मिडिल क्लास से 8%, अपर मिडिल क्लास से 10%, रिच से भी 10% और वेरी रिच से भी 10%. तो ये ग्राफ ऐसे आके कांस्टेंट हो गया. इसके बाद है कैनन्स ऑफ टैक्सेशन, गुड प्रिंसिपल ऑफ टैक्सेशन, वेल्थ ऑफ नेशंस, एडम स्मिथ. कैनन ऑफ इक्वालिटी, इसमें टैक्स शुड बी प्रोपोर्शनल टू इनकम, टैक्स डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू इनकम. कैनन ऑफ सर्टेनिटी, निश्चितता, अबाउट डेडलाइन एंड रेट्स. Canon of convenience, ease in filing and paying. Canon of economy, collection cost of tax should be minimum. Direct taxes on income, union और स्टेट. यूनियन का है कॉरपोरेशन टैक्स, मिनिमम अल्टरनेटिव टैक्स, इनकम टैक्स, कैपिटल गेन टैक्स. स्टेट में आपका है एग्री इनकम टैक्स, प्रोफेशनल टैक्स, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सीलिंग ऑन मैक्स ₹2500 per year. Direct tax on assets or transactions, union. Security transaction tax, SAT. Commodity transaction tax, CTT. DDT 2020. Wealth tax removed 2016. Banking cash transaction tax. State tax abolished 90s. ये चारों जो है ये abolish हो चुके हैं. State land revenue, property tax in urban area, stamp duty, registration duty, purchasing property. Direct tax on expenditure, यूनियन. फिक्सिंग बेनिफिट टैक्स और गिफ्ट टैक्स ये अबॉलिश हो चुका है. स्टेट का स्टेट वाइज है. सरचार्ज, इट इज़ अ टैक्स ऑन टैक्स कंप्यूटेड ऑन टैक्स अमाउंट, नो स्पेसिफिक ऑब्जेक्टिव एक्सेप्ट 10% सोशल वेलफेयर सरचार्ज ऑन कस्टम ड्यूटी ऑन इम्पोर्टेड गुड्स, विल गो टू CFI एंड नॉट शेयर्ड विद स्टेट्स. Cess, computed on amount tax plus surcharge, clear objective mentioned, CFI public account, only central government can levy. Income tax plus 10% surcharge into 4% cess equal to रुपए. Income tax CFI यूनियन स्टेट फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर तीनों. सरचार्ज CFI में यूनियन सिर्फ है, स्टेट ऑफ फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री नहीं है. पब्लिक अकाउंट्स यूनियन सिर्फ है, स्टेट ऑफ फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री नहीं है. इसके बाद है कॉरपोरेशन टैक्स सरचार्ज, फिर सेस ऑन नेट प्रॉफिट, इंक्रीजिंग ऑन नेट प्रॉफिट ऑफ कंपनी अंडर IT Act 1961, 25% if Indian company turnover up to 400 crore, 99.3% of company fall here. 30% if Indian company turnover higher than 400 crore, 40% if foreign company, that is Google Ads. ये सब पहले वो थे बिफोर। अब क्या है, एग्जिस्टिंग इंडियन कंपनीज 22%, न्यू इंडियन एमएफजी कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड फ्रॉम 2019 15%, फॉरेन कंपनी 40% नो चेंज, जीरो प्रॉफिट कंपनी 18.5%, फिर 15% मैट। ये बाद में हुआ 2019 के बजट। गूगल इशू नॉट गिविंग कॉरपोरेट टैक्स excuses, India's DTAA with Singapore, work or server place not in India, budget 2016, Finance Act 2016, 6% tax on such digital advertisement companies, that is equalization levy, EL, on ad price as known as Google tax, budget 2020, applied this on more foreign companies, 2% EL on company in e-commerce, France, GAFA tax. MAT on company uses tax deduction exemption to become zero profit company and escape tax liability. 1987 Rajiv Gandhi minimum corporate tax. 1996 P Chidambaram MAT. 18% MAT on book profit, formula which can help detecting such nuisance. DDT budget 2020 abolished, but dividend will now be taxable in hands of shareholders. He will pay income tax on it. Canon of equality. Buyback tax. Tax when company buy back shares from its shareholders. Profit making company. Budget 2013 20% buyback tax on unlisted company. 2015 budget applicable on listed company as well. Why profit making company will buy back? No need to pay the dividend in future. Profit maximization. Capital gain tax. Tax on capital gains profit. Short term CGT, long term CGT. Buyer will deduct that much portion and deposit to government, remaining will be paid to seller. Provision to prevent frauds if seller leaves India after making profit. Direct tax. Capital asset which are subjected to CGT. NA land, property, jewelry, painting, vehicle, machinery, etc. Patents, trademarks, etc. Share bonds, etc. A profit used to invest in same asset. No need to pay CGT, which is sold. In case of houses, only real estate. If house sold to start business. Income tax 24 July income tax day. Income from income sources other than agriculture. If gross income, if by electric vehicle, house rent allowances, LIC, PPF, etc. up to 1.5 lakh, education loan, home loan interest, PM cares, army welfare fund, etc. Taxable income, TI. Standard deduction, Indian resident less than 60 years, salaried employees, deduct extra 50,000 rupees from TI. Income slabs for senior citizens, 5%, 20% or 30%. Income tax slabs. Taxable income, individual below 60, 60 to 80 and above 80, very senior. अगर 2.5 लाख तक है तो नॉट एप्लीकेबल है तीनों पे. अगर मोर देन 2.5 लाख है तो 5% है, यहाँ पे नहीं है, यहाँ नहीं है. मोर देन 3.5 है तो 5% है, यहाँ पे 5% देना है, यहाँ नहीं. अब मोर देन 5 to 10 लाख है तो 20%, 20%, 20%. और मोर देन 10 है तो 30%, 30%, 30. और अब 50 लाख से भी ज़्यादा है तो 30% टैक्स प्लस 10 to 37% surcharge if income more than 50 lakh. Since budget 2018, 4% health and educational cess. Budget 2020 optional. If you don't want micro slabs to invest in LIC, PPF, etc. to micro slabs. New system will relatively cheaper for rich. Government loss called as revenue foregone tax expenditure. Budget 2021. Senior citizen aged 75 year or more. Banker will deduct necessary tax. No need to file for return. Reduces compliances burden of senior citizen. Surcharge income 2 crore to 5 crore to 25%. Income रुपया more than 5 crore to 37%. As a result, FPI pulling out their money from India. So government gave relaxation if they invest in listed company. Plus economic policy plus uncertainty. 2017 Direct Tax Code DTC Task Force. Under CBDT, member Arvind Modi suggestion decrease corporate tax, give additional tax relief for startup company, foreign company and domestic company should have some tax interest, abolish DDT, increase slab for super rich. Financial transaction taxes STT, stamp duty, CTT, Tobin tax. STT, securities transaction tax, levied on sale and purchase of share bonds, ETFs, derivatives at the rate stock exchange. Interest rate varies as per type of security. Commodity transaction tax CTT, levied on non-agri commodities traded on commodity exchange. Share or bond selling STT, reselling if profit CGT, capital gain tax. Stamp duty state applies on value of share bonds securities selling renting of immovable property, example certain type of legal agreements, rent agreement, partnership agreement, irrespective of whether seller making profit or loss. 2020 Union Government amended Indian Stamp Duty Act 1899, uniform rates across states, a uniform collect and distribute to states. Tobin or Robin Hood tax. Investor investing in multiple counter consecutively for making profit involves exchange of currency, volatility in exchange rate, volatility in share market. How to stop these investors? Economist James Tobin. Every time investor is converting currency, levy Tobin tax on it. In India, foreign currency conversion are subjected to GST, previously service tax. But in some countries it is direct tax. Presumptive taxation, not a tax but process. Salaried employed easily compute income tax on salary. Doctors, lawyer designers, freelancer professionals, difficult to hire full-time accountant, difficult to compute exact profit sometime. Corporate companies separate full-time accountant. Solution: presumptive taxation. X% of their gross income will be considered presumptive as profit and pay tax on it according to slabs. Hindu undivided family. Hindu, Buddhist, Jain or Sikh family can come together, pool their asset and form HUF under Income Tax Act. HUF is taxed separately for its member help saving taxes. Advance tax, not a tax. Pay direct taxes in advance installment on quarterly basis instead of delaying the tax payment towards end and use money to invest. TDS, tax deducted at source, salaries cut. Established institution, salary देता है टीचर को in cash, danger of tax evasion. टीचर इसके बदले में पढ़ाता है. TDS, education institution pay deposit 10% of teacher's salary into income tax and gives PAN card number of faculty department. Freelance faculty forced to file income tax return form now. What if faculty's taxable income was up to 2.5 lakh? Then zero tax to be paid by him. So IT department will refund his 10% with interest, TDS refund. Budget 2019. Individual who is not registered as company his wedding. Paying someone rupees 50 lakh or more. Buying wedding related services. Individual should cut X% as TDS and deposit in income tax department. Seller now must file income tax return to fight black money and tax evasion. ये चीज़ वो सेम वही चीज़. Individual withdrew money from bank to buy wedding related services. If withdrawing more than 1 crore in year from a single user account, 2% bank will cut TDS. Need to file IT return to unlock money to decrease scope of tax for tax evasion. APMC Mandi merchant gave relaxation in TDS rules. They can pay for farmers in cash. By farmers are in rural area, because farmers are in rural area, so ATM or less. Tax collected at source, TCS, case basis. एक्स वॉन्ट्स टू बाय कार, बायर, ठीक है, सेलर ने एक्स को चार्जेस इंटरेस्ट TCS एक्स्ट्रा ओवर कार प्राइस। फिर यहाँ से ये जो है सेलर के पास गया, 4 कार्स हैं इसके पास, ₹25 लाख। सेलर विल डिपॉजिट दिस 25K in IT department. X must file IT return to unlock his money. बजट, फिर रेवेन्यू पार्ट, फिर इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस। इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस, incidence and impact of tax does not fall on same person, falls under ambit of finance ministry, department of revenue, CBIT, बजट 2018 CBEC से CBIT। Example, custom duty on import or export, service tax on services, etc., excise duty on manufacturing and on number of units. Indirect taxes, ad valorem tax based on value of product. Example, tobacco custom duty on import is 6% of value. Easier to administer, difficult, slightly increase, then better burden on consumer, helps reducing harmful consumption. Specific tax per unit, custom duty on manufacturing. Indirect tax, merits or demerits. Merits में convenient to collect because traders act as unpaid tax collectors, tax on biscuit, more tax base, elastic, small increase bring large revenue, although they are relatively less elastic than direct taxes. Can decrease harmful consumption. Indirect taxes के demerits, regressive, promote less civic consciousness because tax is hidden in the price. Indirect taxes increases expensive products, demand decreases, so uncertainty in government earning. If input cost is not given, cascading effect at corruption or evasion. Cascading effect of corruption or evasion. इसके बाद है Pygovian tax by Arthur Pigou, economist, taxing the companies that creates negative externalities. Example, polluting industry, cigarettes, alcohol. Sin tax, imposing tax on immoral things like cigarette, alcohol. Custom duty, Customs Act to levy custom duty on import and export, high custom duty on finished imported goods to protect domestic industries, low custom duty on export of Indian made items to boost their demand in global market, import of raw material, cess and surcharge on custom duty, custom duty on export or import plus 12% social welfare charge 2018 on import only, plus health cess 5% if importing medical devices equal to rupee tax. Not applicable on gold or silver because smuggling started. Budget 2021, agri infrastructure and dev cess, AIDC, also on custom and excise if importing certain goods. Excise, 5 hydrocarbons, their indirect taxes not subsumed in GST. Petrol, diesel, crude oil, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. Excise applies on production on these things in India. Presently, union excise on production. In future, see GST. States VAT on selling of these products as GST. GST Council will decide their implementation date. Rupee X excise duty per litre. Rupee X per litre road and infrastructure cess plus Rupee X per litre AIDC cess. 2.5 rupee per litre petrol, 4 rupee per litre diesel. Not interest but absolute rupee per litre. Why? Because high fluctuation in oil prices, so government don't want its tax revenue to lessen. GST destination based indirect tax on consumption. GST economic angle. Input tax credit like using previous cashback for next recharge Paytm. Wipro. X bought computers from Wipro worth rupees X and paid GST to Wipro. Wipro ने रोमन्स X GST दिया रुपए Y, GST रुपए Y विप्रो को गया, इन्होंने रुपए Y दिया गवर्नमेंट को, गवर्नमेंट ठीक ये GST जो है इसके बाद यहाँ आ रहा है। मान लो ये एक्स स्टार्टेड कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट, ठीक, तो स्टूडेंट विल पे फीस, अब रुपए यहाँ से आए इसके पास, ये भी रुपए जाएगा गवर्नमेंट के पास, तो रुपए माइनस रुपए वाई, एक्स हैव टू पे 18% GST ऑन द फीस कलेक्टेड, बट ही विल डिडक्ट रुपए वाई एंड देन विल पे टू गवर्नमेंट. रुपए वाई GST पेड टू विप्रो, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. Before GST, multiple taxes, input credit not given on each tax. Suppose input cost of coaching class rupees 15 lakh price plus 2 lakh indirect taxes. Indirect tax on goods, blackboard, chalk, duster. Service एड्स इन हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर, ये सब. यूनियन में एक्साइज ड्यूटी 15% और सर्विस टैक्स 15%. स्टेट टैक्स डिफरेंट इन डिफरेंट स्टेट्स. उसके बाद इनपुट देखें तो रुपए 17 लाख प्लस 15 लाख प्रॉफिट, तो ये 32 लाख हुआ, जो कि सेलिंग प्राइस हो गया लेक्चर और कोचिंग का. 17 लाख बिकॉज नो टैक्स क्रेडिट इज गिवन, तो इसलिए 32 लाख में ये सर्विस दी जा रही है. यूनियन गवर्नमेंट विल लिवाई 15% सर्विस टैक्स ऑन इट. ₹32 लाख प्लस ₹4,80,000 से ₹36,80,000 हो गया. 36,80,000 बर्डन ऑन स्टूडेंट आ गया. तो इसमें कॉस्ट प्राइस ऑफ इनपुट टैक्स प्रॉफिट वाई और टैक्स ऑन चॉक डस्टर द हिंदू एक्सेट्रा जेड से सेलिंग प्राइस आई. Tax levied on each segment and multiple times. Cascading effect. Example, tax on rupee levied 3 times because it also included in cost price on input X and profit. So to avoid, they will accept payment in cash. Avoid tax liability. Black money increase, government revenue decrease, fiscal deficit increase, government will have to borrow money. अगर वही cost price on input है, input plus input credit given प्लस प्रॉफिट प्लस ये हो जाएगा सेटिंग प्राइस, ये आफ्टर GST रिजाइन हुआ. इसके बाद बिफोर आफ्टर और अल्टीमेटली. यूनियन एक्साइज ड्यूटी और सर्विस टैक्स था. उसके बाद आया दोज टैक्सेस कॉन्टिन्यूड बट क्रेडिट सिस्टम कॉल्ड मोडवैट और सनवैट. उसके बाद आया CGST. उसके बाद आया स्टेट, यहाँ से आया सेल्स टैक्स. उसके बाद आया वैट. उसके बाद आया SGST. Gradual reforms in indirect tax regime. 1944 Union Central Excise Tax. 1944 to levy excise duty on goods produced or manufactured in India on steel, rubber, etc. Cascading effect होगा टाटा कार. 1986 Union Central Excise Act. Rajiv Gandhi government brought Tripur input tax credit. MODVAT, modified VAT system, provides input tax credit on excise paid raw materials. 1990s FM's Mohan Singh introduces 5% service tax on telephone bills, stock brokers, etc. Small list of services. Raw material excise now not cascading because mod VAT. Services marketing, logo design, service tax, Tata car. Service tax also counted here and again taxes. 2004 SunVAT. It is a system provided input credit on both excise duty and service tax paid for manufacturing. Same for states VAT to remove cascading effect on sales tax on sales of good, but need bill of purchase of raw material. Reproof needed, less tax evasion. Regimes input tax on credit, union tax or ITC on state tax. Mod VAT only excise not service tax, यहाँ पे नहीं है. SunVAT excise tax, service tax यहाँ नहीं. VAT state यहाँ पे नहीं है, यहाँ सर्विस टैक्स में. GST दोनों जगह. 101 GST 2016, 102 Constitutional Status of NCBC 2018, 103 10% EWS 2019, 104 Anglo-Indian Reservation लोकसभा वैसल्य खत्म, 105 to restore state power to make OBC list. Intra-state supply within state. Union levies CGST. State levies SGST. Total GST equal CGST plus SGST. Interstate supply between states. ये यूनियन IGST levies. GST goes to union. CGST goes to destination state. SGST goes to destination state from IGST. If raw material brought by intrastate supply, इस वाले से, and raw material brought by interstate supply इधर से, तो product made sold within intra CGST plus SGST, no IGST. और अगर sold in other state interstate तो IGST 50-50 प्रोविंस स्टेट और डेस्टिनेशन स्टेट. तो CGST जो है वो हो गया और SG ठीक है ST GSTN ऑनलाइन पोर्टल. 3 streams of tax credit: CGST credit, SGST credit, IGST credit. Whatever had buyer paid to supplier, he will give input tax credit. Buyer will pay GST after adjusting it with input credits he got earlier. GSTN portal. Use their credits to pay IGST dues, pay SGST dues, pay CGST dues. IGST credit तीनों में है. CGST से पहले IGST में है, इसमें नहीं है, और CGST में है. फिर SGST पहले 2 में है और आखिरी में नहीं है. If goods and services are sold in UT without legislature, then instead of SGST they will levy UT GST. UT W legislature levy SGST, without legislature levy UT GST. GST constitutional angle. 2004 Vijay Kelkar Task Force on FRBM recommended GST. 2016 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. 2014 Bill 122 amended following articles. 246A 268A article deleted. 269A IGST. 270 CGST will be provided as per formula of FC at bottom of page. 279A GST Council to be headed by FM. 366 Alcoholic liquor for human consumption kept out of GST. Matter before 101 CA 2016, after 101 CA 2016. Who will tax services? तो इसमें था पहले ओनली यूनियन नो स्टेट्स, आफ्टर में यूनियन CGST स्टेट SGST. हु विल टैक्स इंटरस्टेट ट्रेड? यहाँ पहले यूनियन था, सेंट्रल स्टेट टैक्स CST था, इसके बाद यहाँ पे जो है वो हुआ CST एबॉलिश हो गया है. सो यूनियंस IGST प्लस SGST. हु विल डिसाइड टैक्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन फार्मूला? ओनली फाइनेंस कमीशन. Finance Commission continued, but GST Council also came in picture. इससे हुआ टैक्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. तो यूनियन लिवाइज IGST ऑन इंटरस्टेट ट्रेड, यूनियन गेट CGST और states get SGST. 50% of GST decided by GST Council. Union income tax, corporation tax CGST. Finance Commission will decide formula for sharing it with states. 41% must be shared. Composition of GST Council. Unions representative 2, FM as chairman, UN Minister of State for Finance, state representatives 31, from each state government minister including UT with legislature. One of them will be selected as vice president of GST Council. Chairman of CBIC, CBIT and C. Development of Revenue minus permanent invitee without wing power. To pass the proposal, minimum 3.4 votes needed. Council meeting to proceed only with quorum of 50% of total membership. 3 by 4th, 1 by 3 voting power union, 2 by 3 voting power states. I meeting usually in every quarter 3. Functions of GST Council. First, list of taxes surcharges has to be subsumed under GST. Decide date on which five hydrocarbons will be subsumed under GST. Decide substandard rate for GST, CGST, ZGST, UTGST, फिर IGST norms related to GST registration and of business, protecting interest of special category state, Northeast Himalayan states. Dispute resolution, compensation to states. GST special rates during natural calamity. Kerala allowed levy 1% calamity cess on intra-state trade for 2 years. Financial flood rehabilitation. How to put Constitutional Amendment into effect. RTE is a FR. RTE Act 2009. Compassion for living features is fundamental duty. Prevention of cruelty to animals Act 1960. GST इसमें UT GST, CGST Act, SGST Act, IGST Act. ये कंपनसेशन एक्ट है, पास्ड बाय पार्लियामेंट एंड स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर एज directed by GST Council. Taxes subsumed under GST. A. Centers indirect taxes. Custom duty, it is still levied by union. Imported items, custom duty plus IGST. Exported items, custom duty plus 0% GST. So that helps exporter to accumulative input tax credits. Center indirect tax on imports. स्पेशल एडिशनल कस्टम ड्यूटी नहीं, काउंटरवेलिंग ड्यूटी नहीं, एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी नहीं. नॉट रिप्लेस्ड विद GST imposed on imported itself to protect local producer. Third, central sale tax is removed under GST regime. Fourth, union indirect taxes on alcohol. Fourth, medical and toiletry preparation products. GST Council will decide the rates. Liquor used for drinking purpose kept outside the purview of GST Council. At production state excise, at sale state VAT. Tobacco product. On tobacco products, GST plus unions GST compensation to states. Union nationalization calamity contingency duty. Indirect taxes on 5 hydrocarbons. Presently union exercise or state VAT. Crude oil, aviation fuel or natural gas. Not yet union taxes subsumed under GST, CGST or IGST. Excise duty on goods, excise on alcohol used in immediate toiletries products, service tax on services or central sales tax. Not subsumed. Excise on 5 hydrocarbons, direct taxes, custom duty on imports, tobacco, liquor for consumption purpose. State taxes subsumed under GST, SGST. Purchase tax on vehicle, boats, animals, advertising tax on hoarding banners, entry tax, octroi, lottery or gambling, entertainment tax, luxury tax on hotel, spa, etc. VAT on goods. Non-subsumed under GST. VAT on 5 hydrocarbon state direct taxes, liquor state excise plus VAT, electricity duty bill, road tax on cess road tax on cars. GST on service 0%. Service provided by union government, state government, local bodies, constitutional body. Example में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पोस्ट एक्सेप्ट प्रीमियम सर्विसेज पेड पोस्ट, रेलवे एक्सेप्ट प्रीमियम सर्विस AC फर्स्ट क्लास, एसिक EPFO सर्विस टू सब्सक्राइबर, रिलीजियस चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज़, कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी, पब्लिक टॉयलेट, पब्लिक लाइब्रेरीज, क्रीमेटोरियम, burial ground, etc. Services by RBI and other financial regulators. Service by bankers, NBFC for government sponsored banking, insurance and pension scheme. Educational service by educational institute, no, not coaching institution, college होगा. Any service exported outside, zero cartel outside India. Note 0%. Plumbing, carpenting, ads in print media, ebook 5%. Not exempted. Movie ticket up to 100 रुपए, accommodation 12%. GST on goods. पहले हम देखते हैं एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज 0% GST. अब GST on goods 0%. Fresh pasteurized milk, live animal except race horses and their abundant and fresh products. Fresh flowers, leaves, fruits, vegetable, unbranded grain crops, cash crop like wheat, maize and their unbranded flour. Bread except when served in restaurant. Human blood, contraceptives, sanitary napkins, etc. Agri hand tools, sprayed axes, etc. Printed books, printed maps, printed newspaper, journals, periodicals. Any certain ads or not. Any good exported outside India, 0 rate export. Not 0%, not exempted. Diamond, semi precious stone 0.25% GST. Not exempted. Jewelry, pearls, gold, platinum, silver, etc. Milk powder, baby food, pizza bread, mineral ores, certain medicine 5%. ज्वेलरी हो गया पे 3% GST. फ्रूट, जैम्स, बटर, चीज़, सर्जिकल आइटम्स, टेक्सटाइल, सर्टेन मेडिसिन्स 12%. आइसक्रीम, केक, बिस्किट, सोप, परफ्यूम, पेन, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक, कंप्यूटर, पेंट, पॉलिश, वैक्स, सिमिलर पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स 18%. लग्जरी गुड्स, सिन गुड्स, demerits goods, caffeinated beverages, tobacco products, cement, granite, marble, etc. TV, motor vehicle, aircraft, lottery ticket 28%. GST compensation to states. गुजरात मेड कार 10 लाख की कार गई यूपी, बॉट कार. बिकॉज GST इज डेस्टिनेशन बेस्ड, यूपी विल गेट SGST. और वहीं पे यूपी से अगर आ रही है 1 लाख की साइकिल, 1000 की साइकिल गुजरात में, तो गुजरात पाएगा SGST फ्रॉम IGST. Because of price difference of products, Gujarat will receive less GST in spite of producing expensive goods. Taxes union or states. Taxes before, ठीक, कॉरपोरेशन टैक्स, इनकम टैक्स. यहाँ पे वैट है, मेजर सोर्स ऑफ इनकम. फिर इज इट एबॉलिश्ड? नो, बिकॉज दे आर डायरेक्ट टैक्सर. यस, स्टेट में यस. नाउ GST बट स्टेबल गेट्स ओनली 1/2 portion, so tax revenue decreased. Considered assumed state VAT collection increased per year B 14%. 1 + 2, so compensation 2015 से 21 तक का देखें तो 100, 114, 14% का इंक्रीज. यहाँ 190, फिर 148, 169, 193, फिर 219. स्टेट वैट रिप्लेस्ड विद SGST. ये हो गया स्टेट वैट कलेक्शन, रेवेन्यू ऑफ स्टेट, GST कलेक्शन. So if less income for states, the uniform will cover losses. Compensation to states by union, that is GST compensation for first 5 years of GST only. GST compensation to states Act 2017. 2015-16 as base year to measure states revenue in VAT regime. If loss in GST regime, compensation होगा. GST Council recommended GST compensation cess on specified luxury goods and demerit goods. Way to acquire in 2020 by now extended. Scheme valid for first 5 years from 2017 only. Liquor ban in Bihar, Gujarat, Nagaland, Lakshadweep. Liquor outside GST. VAT revenue, low compensation. GST miscellaneous concept and bodies. Composition scheme rule. Regular scheme big merchant turnover more than 40 crore must register. Composition scheme small business farm डिपॉजिट GST ऑन मंथली बेसिस. यहाँ पे जो ही नहीं है, यहाँ पे 333 पे भी कर सकते हैं. ये गेट LIC ये ज़रूरी है, यहाँ पे जो ही नहीं है. जो ये 333 है ये कन्वीनियंट टू स्मॉल ट्रेडर्स है. रिवर्स चार्ज मैकेनिज्म. इफ सेलर इज़ नॉट रजिस्टर्ड विद GST देन बायर हैज़ टू पे GST बाय रिवर्स चार्ज मैकेनिज्म. एग्जाम्पल, बायर बाइंग रेस हॉर्सेस फ्रॉम पुअर फार्मर्स. बायर जो है रजिस्टर्ड विद GST हो गया, पुअर फार्मर जो है नॉट रजिस्टर्ड विद GST है. ई-वे बिल सिस्टम फ्रॉम 2018 ऑनवर्ड. ट्रक कार्गो ट्रांसपोर्ट ड्यूरिंग इंटरस्टेट सप्लाईज. ई-वे बिल इज सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन. Our truck is carrying X type of goods within Y value. Every truck will not be checked, only random checking. Scope of bribery, delay, red tape, harassment at checkpost. Rapid movement, present and future. Bill or invoice और e-way bill तो e-invoice आया. Bodies, group of minister by GST Council. These committee are set up by GST Council to look into specific issue from time to time. Nation Anti-Proliferating Authority. GST provides ITC most of indirect taxes or entrepreneurs production cost should decrease and also prices for consumers should decrease. Yet many companies has now reduced prices. NAA under GST Goods and Service Tax 2017 ceases to exist in 2 years but extended. NAA can order culprit comp, appeal High Court, to decrease cost, to refund money with interest, to deposit money into welfare funds, cancel registration.